Well, maybe we'll get going. Thanks for joining us today, whether you're in the room or you're online. Our main topic is going to be scams and cyber threats by myself, Tom Kreuzer. You can mute your audio and turn off your video until the Q&A at the end of the presentation. That may make your connection a little smoother and easier there. Also, you can use the chat to ask a question or comment at any time. I won't look at the chats until the end of the presentation when I go to the Q&A. Handout is out on the PC Club website, like I mentioned, and I believe Jim may upload it to the chat after we get going. Okay, our agenda, first some club status, and then we'll get to our main topic. Future meeting, there is a MAC-SIG that is this Friday, August 18th at 11:30. I haven't seen the agenda yet, but it's usually filled with current updates and questions and problems that people are having. So if you've got a Macintosh, an iPhone, or an iPad, it's well worth the while to join in on those meetings also. If you're not already a member, send me a note, or Mike Griffin is the leader, but I can get it on to Mike and he'll get you added to his distribution list. Our next general meeting is, or our next question and answer meeting is Tuesday, September 5th. We do that online, so everyone's welcome to join that. Our next general meeting is Wednesday, September 20th. And there'll be, again, an in-person option, so you're welcome to join us. That's limited to a maximum of 24, but that's okay. And then we also will have the web. The main topic will be YouTube, videos, and more. So even though you may be using YouTube, hopefully you'll see some of the tips and some of the other things that you might be able to do there. Currently, there's over 1 billion videos out on YouTube. And a little teaser there, the two most popular websites in the world, number one is the Google search, and number two is YouTube. So if you haven't been out there, there's something for everyone. Whether you're creating video, I create videos and share it with friends and family, and actually, the meetings that I make available through the 3M Club website, those are all hosted up on YouTube. And it's all free of charge. That's the beauty of this thing. So whether you're a creator or a viewer, great thing there. These are our officers. Jim is our president. Linda is our vice president. Paul is our membership secretary. Paula is our treasurer. Chuck is our recording secretary. Mike is our MAC-SIG director. Andrew is our communication coordinator. And my name is Tom. I'm a director at large. And we're always looking for volunteers. And if you'd like to help out, just drop us a note and we'll get you involved there. Members old and new, you can pay your dues to Paul. Paul does send out an email notifying you when your membership is expiring, so make sure and respond. And if you do change your email, make sure and notify us so that we can keep in touch with you. If you have suggestions for topics, you can email your ideas to any of us or talk to a board member. And we're always looking for people to volunteer, so whether you use a particular piece of hardware or software, maybe at work, maybe at home. And if you don't want to present, we do have a monthly eBytes newsletter. You can write short, meaning a sentence or two or a long article, and we'll include it in our newsletter. Out on our website, we do post these handouts for this, the slides and handouts. We usually try and record the meetings, so those, if you've missed them or want to revisit any, you can go out there at any time and look at those. We have a deal section with some links and some codes. We have our monthly eBytes newsletter, and there's the link there. And the link is also sent out in all the emails that we send to the members. Okay, let's get to our main topic today, which is scams and cyber threats by myself, Tom Kreuzer. We'll talk about how to spot some of the scams and threats, how to use security and password management, and other tools and tips to keep you safe. In the classic musical production, The Music Man, the con man Harold Hill frightens townsfolk into believing that they've got trouble right here in River City. Once he has them quaking in their boots, he's right there with a solution for a price. Grifters and con men show up everywhere, and they've been around for everywhere, and especially in the world of technology. There are many different types of scams that try and convince you to send them money or enable access to your financial accounts. Scammers today use phone calls, emails, text messages, websites, pop-up ads, and even the postal mail. Unfortunately, most scams don't have a happy ending like the movie, so too many people do end up on the wrong side there. Okay, let's talk about some of the most common scams. And the number one most common scam is what's called phishing. And phishing is using an official looking email, a phone, could be a phone number, a text, a website, saying that your account has a problem and has been hacked, or it will be shut down immediately, or you won a prize. It's your lucky day. You won a prize there. Victims click on the link, call, talk to the person on the phone, open up an attachment, and they start giving out their accounts, their passwords, and their financial information. In 2022, consumers lost a staggering $10.3 billion to scammers, according to the FBI. That's why it's continued to be done. If it wasn't profitable, people wouldn't do it and it'd die a slow death there. This is a little example here. I know none of us have Trusted Bank, but this could say U.S. Bank, or it could say Huntington Bank, or it could say any bank out there. And basically the message is the same. It says, oh, we've received a notice of an attempt to withdraw money from your checking account in another country for $135. If this information isn't correct, someone unknown may have access to your account. As a safety measure, please visit our website using the link before to verify your personal information. And lo and behold, they've made it so easy, they give you a link to click on to put in your information. But unfortunately, this doesn't come from the bank. It's from a hacker or a scammer. And you click on that. You go to a website that may look like U.S. Bank or Huntington, but it's really the hacker's website. You fill in your account, you fill in your password, the hacker now has all your information. So it's not a nice thing there. So the tip not to fall for this is to hang up. So if you get a telephone call, just hang up. And you don't even have to answer. For the most part, a lot of people will not answer any telephone number that is not in their contact list. And that's a good policy. So you can, if it is important or it is somebody using a different phone that you don't recognize, they can leave a message and you can call them usually back right away there. But if you do get an email or you do get a call, you can certainly go out to your U.S. bank, use an alternate method to contact the company that sent you that supposedly sent you the email or the telephone call or the text message, and ask if your account has been compromised. Don't use the phone number in their email that was sent to you, or if it was a pop-up message, don't use that. Check your past bills, your past statements, and if you chances are in your browser you have bookmarks or you have an app for your bank or your financial, use that to go in and check there because that's going to the correct website and has the correct information on it, unlike the email that you may have gotten. Okay, so after the number one, phishing there, the number two most common scam is the tech support scams. There you receive an unexpected call or a pop-up message on your computer warning of an issue. Maybe that you have a virus or malware or a device is not protected. The caller or pop-up claims to be from a tech support and asks for access to your computer to fix the issue. Typically, the scammer will ask you to type a specific command to enable his remote access to your computer. Once they have control of your computer, they may require payment for technical assistance, they may install malicious software, they may make other changes on your computer to leave your computer vulnerable. Or they may sell you. I know I know about 3 people in the computing club that have fallen for this. And some of it has to do with the router. They got a call that their router had been attacked and had to be updated. And I think one of them was a Netgear. And yes, they had a Netgear router, so they trusted that the person on the other end could see that their Netgear router was under attack. And the only way to fix it was to buy this special software for the router for $59.95, and he bought it. And after I told him it was a scam, he kept saying, no, everything's working fine now. And I go, no, everything isn't working fine, because they may have put other stuff on there. Plus, they know that you're more gullible and you're going to get even more calls and more problems there. But yeah, it's very, very common, and certainly if it's a pop-up, they make the pop-ups look like Windows or an Apple message, and people think, well, it looks like official messages, so it must be. The tip there is beware of scammers impersonating a tech support company. So chances are all of us have received the Microsoft support call or the Apple support. So you'll get these. Red flag, Microsoft does not call people out of the blue. Apple does not call people out of the blue. Anybody that's calling you out of the blue is a scammer. And they claim to be with the tech support or with a fraud company or a government agency, and never give them control to your computer or log-on information. Okay, those are the most common, but there's also hundreds, if not thousands, of variations of all these things. So another one that gets people to send money there is what's called the friend or family member imposter. You may receive a call or an email from somebody that appears to be legitimate because the scammer knows specific information about you, your family, or your friends. So you may get a telephone call saying, this is your grandson, Jimmy, and I'm down in Cancun, and I've been arrested by the Mexican police, and I can't call my parents because I'm embarrassed. Can you send me $2,000 and then I can get out of jail? I promise to pay you back the $2,000, and that I'd be so grateful there. And can you really help me? Can you really help me there? So the scammers trick people into believing that they are a friend or a family member, claiming to need money for an emergency, whether it's posting bail, paying a hospital bill, being detained at an airport. Scammers pressure you to send the money immediately through an online wire or payment service. And now, especially with AI voice and with the ability to create fake photos, it can easily be faked if they want to add additional information to make you believe. But a lot of this information about your family is public information out on the internet. So if that person had access, that scammer had access to your Facebook, which a lot of people leave public access to their Facebook, they know the grandchildren, they've seen them in pictures. The grandchild may have posted that they're on spring break down in Cancun. So they know all this background information about what's going on, and that's what lends the legitimacy to their telephone call, and people get caught up in that sense of urgency and doing something there. And here the tip is, if you ever get a call like this, certainly don't send any money. Contact your friend or family member directly to confirm the caller's story. Frequently I've seen on TV where they've showed the people, and the scammers will try and keep the person on the telephone line the entire time. So when they're going down to purchase a gift card or to wire money or stuff like that, they say, this is what you do. Go to your bank. Stay on the phone with us. And if the bank teller says this may be a scam, they'll tell them exactly what to say and how to respond and things like that, because they don't want the person to hang up or call the parents or check on anything. They want to get you in that sense of urgency there. Okay, another one is what's called the IRS scam. You receive a phone call claiming to be the IRS that you owe them money. They demand that you pay immediately or you're going to be arrested. Well, the tip there is the IRS never calls. They'll send you snail mail or in the regular mail, and the IRS never demands money or gift cards. I've never paid the IRS with gift cards from Amazon or the Apple store, so they don't do that. Another common one is online dating. Scammers use online dating sites, social networks, chat rooms to meet potential victims. They're also checking out if you have social media accounts on Facebook or Instagram. They target people that are single and of a certain age, and so it's real easy to prey on people. They create fake profiles to build up online relationships, and eventually they request that you send money due to a hardship. Oh, I'd like to visit you, but I can't. I don't have the money. Could you wire me and I could get a plane ticket? Or my mother is in the hospital and I can't leave her. Could you please help out? Now I had a cousin who fell for this. He thought he was dating a girl, and the girl goes, "Oh, my kid's birthday is coming up. Do you think that you could send him a gift card for his birthday?" And he sent him a gift card, the kid, for his birthday. I said, "I've got a birthday coming up. Do you want to send me a gift card? Because you might as well be throwing it in the garbage." He says, "Well, but it was only $25 or that." And I go, that's not the point. Don't fall for these things. So don't give out your personal information, your accounting numbers, credit card numbers, and there's different ways to date, and there's different ways to connect with people than some of these scammers here. Another one is online loan scams. Beware of loan offers on social media or online ads. So they'll pop up and they'll say, "We can refinance your house loan. We can save you hundreds of dollars a month, and just click on this link or give us a call." And it sounds so tempting to people because, they've heard of other people refinancing and saving money. Maybe this is an internet thing. It's going to be real easy to do. Well, it's usually a scammer impersonating a loan company who's looking to empty your bank account once you share your financial data. Watch out for the warning signs, such as lenders demanding prepaid debit cards or pressuring you into acting immediately. When applying for a loan, go to a trusted website instead of clicking on a link in an ad. Another one is ransomware. Ransomware is, at some point you may have clicked or gone out to a website and you unknowingly downloaded a type of malicious software to your computer. The software is designed to block access to your operating system and information stored on your PC, and encrypts all the information on the PC, and the only way to get access to it is to pay a sum of money to an online criminal. That's the ransom part of it. The tip there, back up your data regularly by syncing your files to an external drive or backup such as cloud storage. Also, it's a case of most of the ransomware also affects people that are running old versions of operating systems. So if you're still running Windows 7 or even Windows 8, if you're running old version of Apple operating system, I know people that are still running an iPhone 7. Well, the iPhone 7 operating system hasn't been updated in, I think, 3 years or 4 years now. Any old operating system that isn't getting updated is vulnerable to these types of things. And you may have heard of some of the big ones, even here in Minnesota. It was just, I think, last year that the Minneapolis public school system was hit by a ransomware. And they ended up having to pay, I don't know if it was $2 million or $4 million to get their data back, because guess what? They didn't have it backed up. They didn't know what to do. So it hits these companies that don't keep their machines up to date and don't have it backed up. Because if you have your data backed up, what you can tell the ransomware people is, goodbye, I'm just reformatting my machine, resetting it, I'm going to reload my data, and I'm going to remove the software that was doing this. It's that easy to do if you've got your data backed up. Okay, another one is lottery or sweepstakes. You receive a phone call. It's your lucky day. Maybe you won the $1.4 billion lottery there. They were calling to let you know. I don't know how they knew your numbers, what numbers you had, but they call you, they email, letters stating that you've won a lottery or a sweepstake or some kind of prize. Scammers require you to pay a fee to receive the prize to avoid taxes or additional fees or for shipping. And if you don't, they may even threaten to report you to the IRS or to police if you don't make the requested payment. The tip there, legitimate lotteries pay taxes directly to the government rather than being reimbursed from a winner's proceeds. Check or account deposit. Scammers will send out a fake check. Doesn't have to be a physical check. It can be a wire transfer, can be a Cash App, can be a Venmo, can be a Zelle. Is sent into your account, and they make a deposit in your account. And once the money is deposited, you'll get a message from them saying, "Oh, I accidentally sent it to the wrong person or the wrong account." And they'll say, "Could you be so kind as to send the money back to me?" And being good Minnesotans, nobody wants to keep money that they don't deserve. So people will send back, let's say it's $100 or $1,000, they'll send that back to the person. Well, you've just been scammed because what happens is most of these ways to send money, you're not protected at all. So if you wanted to undo that sending of $1,000, you could not do that. The scammer, on the other hand, knows the correct things to set up. So he will undo the entry that says that you got $1,000. So you won't have the $1,000. He'll have your $1,000 that you sent him. So never send money back to somebody who says, "Oh, by mistake I sent you money. Please do it." And that's even true of cashier's checks and things like that, because even if it's a cashier's check, it can take up to 10 business days for a check to officially be cleared and deemed that it is an authentic check and an authentic account. And if at any point in there it's deemed that it's not, or the other person put a cancel in on it, you're on the hook to your bank losing out the money that you thought was in your account. Okay, so it's easy to feel that scams and threats are beyond hope, but don't give up hope. And we'll go into some of the tips in that. before we go into the tips, I'm going to switch over to my email account, if I can find it here. Let's see. Where are we here? So I'm in my email, and this is my Gmail account. And Gmail does a really good job of identifying spam and stuff like that. So let's go in and look at my spam account. And this, I just kept some of them from the last week here. And it's interesting because we cover almost every category that we just talked about. Oh, look at this. Well, let's forget about the Zoom. Oh, here's an online dating. Oh, somebody's looking for love there. My lucky day there. Here's another one, Dick's Sporting Good. I won a prize from Dick's Sporting Good. Oh, isn't that great there?
Are you even subscribed to Dick's?
No, I'm not, but I'll take the prize.
Me too, I'm subscribed, so.
Yeah, which would make it easier, but there's a lot of people.
And here's a security alert. Oh, a security alert for a device here. Well, again, they're preying on the urgency and things like that. Oh, here's a confirmation. You're on our list. Netflix there. Well, I don't have a Netflix account. Here's iCloud storage. My Apple iCloud storage needs to be upgraded. That's a scam. It's here's McAfee. My McAfee is bad. Oh, here's another Dick's Sporting Goods. Here's another dating. I'm bored and having a hard time. Can you liven things up a little bit? Well, yeah, if you click on it, it's going to liven your life up a little bit if that's the type of thing that you want. Here's McAfee again. There's Norton. So these two are Norton. Now, I don't use Norton or McAfee. Isn't that amazing? I don't use either one, but yet they've found problems on my machine. They must be mind readers. Oh, here's another one. Tracking. I've got 2 packages that are waiting for me. All I have to do is click. And you'll notice all of these are unread. I have not clicked on them. The last thing you want to do is click on it and open it up, because that usually sends a message back to the spammers that you've opened it up. And that'll just mean that you're going to get tens, if not hundreds, of more spam sent to you. So never open them up. And that's all I can say there. And what I recommend you do is, okay, I've looked through this, and I know that none of these things are legitimate here. I just go through here, select all, delete forever, they're gone forever. Otherwise, they'll be gone in 30 days. But don't open them up. Whatever you do, don't click on them. Don't do anything with them there. Okay, let's get into some tips to protect yourself. Be wary of any get-rich-quick schemes or huge discounts, free prizes, low prices. If an offer seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now, I will have to mention, like the low prices, probably everybody, if you've been on the computer at all, in the last couple of months, you've seen Temu. Temu is a brand new company, and you'll see they'll be selling things. Maybe it's a $50 thing, and you can buy it online for $3.29. That's not a scam. That's a new company trying to compete. It's a Chinese company trying to compete with Amazon, and that is one of the few things that, yeah, it seems like it has to be a scam because they're selling it so cheap, but they're just trying to get new customers, and it really is a deal there. But there's an example of, rather than click on it and go out there, first do your research to see if the company is legitimate and if the ads are. And you've got Google, or use any search that you want, and you'll very easily find out if it's a scam or not. Watch for language that creates unnecessary urgency. So almost all these scams want you to act quickly without thinking. Slow down, think these things through. The scammer's goal is to get you to act without first thinking it through clearly. Pause and think, is this a scam? Don't send money or give your account information to anybody you don't know. Be wary of an unexpected request for payments for goods, services, or a fee through any form of communication. So it could be that phone call, text message, email, social media, anywhere. Don't send money back to somebody who provided a check or an overpayment of goods and services. So if you do think it's in error, say, well, I'm going to keep it for a month, and if my bank deems that it is valid, then I'll send it back. But I'm not sending anything back right away there. Use secure websites and apps for payments and shopping, and only with merchants that you trust. Don't trust your caller ID or an email address that you see, or the name or the number can be spoofed. I can send you an email that looks like it came from Joe Biden at whitehouse.gov. I can make it look like you're getting a call from the Social Security Department. It'll show up on caller ID as SSID. You can change the numbers and email addresses and text messages to anything that you want. And if you want to have fun with people, go ahead and have fun with people. You just Google it, and you can find websites where you can send your friends stuff from Joe Biden. Doesn't mean it came from Joe Biden. Keep security patches and antivirus software up to date on your computer, your internet browsers, and your mobile devices. That's why I'll preach till the day I die. Don't be running old versions of operating systems, and keep everything up to date there. Don't automatically download any attachments, and usually you can turn that off in your email setting. So if you have download all attachments, when I went into like my Gmail, it would have downloaded those to my computer even before me opening it up. So it's trying to make your email experience faster and stuff like that. You don't need that anymore. In the old days, that might have been somewhat useful, but because our internet connections are so fast and things like that, you don't need to automatically download this stuff in the background and that, because like in those cases, those scam emails, I'm never going to open them. So if they had attachments, it would have been downloading them to my computer. I don't want them on my computer. Don't click on links, don't open attachments, or provide sensitive information through a suspicious email or text message, even if the sender appears to be a reputable company or someone you know. Access a company's website by using a reputable search engine, old bookmarks that you have in your browser, or, and I've talked about it before, a good password manager also has a list of your valid URLs for companies and banks and all the sites that you go out to. Well, that's another way of validating that you are going to the correct site. It won't fill in the account and password information if you're on a scammer site. Never give control of your computer to anyone who contacts you. Don't rely on caller ID. Scammers can spoof the name, like we talked about, to make the call seem legitimate. Never pay or donate using gift cards, prepaid cards, and this includes Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, cryptocurrency. It's most likely a scam, and you'll never get your money back. Protect your passwords. Create strong passwords that are different for every site and every app. Change them routinely and never reuse old ones. Strong passwords should be impossible for a hacker to guess. Never use a family name, phone numbers, birthdays, or other social information that can be found on Facebook or other sites. Use a password manager, like I keep preaching there. I recommend Bitwarden. It's free. and it's available on all platforms. So if you have Android, if you have Windows, if you have a Mac, if you have an iPhone, if you have a tablet, it's available on all platforms free of charge. It can auto-fill your forms, it can perform auto-logons, it secures your data, and it's all ruled by one password. This is a caveat here. Some people will save their passwords and their accounts in their browser, because a lot of the browsers nowadays will prompt you when you enter in an account and a password. It'll say, do you want me to save your account and password? No, no, no. Don't save it in the browser. Browsers do offer some level of protection, but they aren't real secure. You're better with a password manager, and you really want a full-fledged manager there. Okay, some other tips. Enable two-factor authentication, 2FA, where you will use a secondary form of authentication. Could be a text message, could be a phone call, could be an authentication app. So there are apps for doing authentication that you can load on your phone or tablet or other device. Apple just introduced Apple Passkey. That's another way to protect there. Or an email to do the two-factor authentication. It's especially important for your financial and banking sites. Use a mobile-based payment system like Apple Pay or Android Pay, which are more secure than using a physical credit card that might be stolen. PayPal can also be used instead of providing a credit card number to some of these smaller vendors, or if you're doing payments to other people there. Watch your credit card and bank statements for unexpected charges and payments. Usually you can go into your credit card and bank and turn on alerts or notifications from your bank, your brokerage, and your credit cards. Most will let you set transaction limits to get alerts. So this is an example. I have a Fidelity credit card. Every time I use my card, I get a text message that tells me when it was used and the amount there. So that's the way I can keep track of that. Also, it tells me if there's been any withdrawals from my bank account. I don't care if somebody's putting money in, but I certainly care if somebody's taking money out. You can request one free credit report a year from the three main credit services. So the three main credit services are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You can go to this website and it'll give you information. And that information, if you've never gotten it, gives you a list of the credit cards that you have, mortgages that you have. It has a variety of your financial information that it's reporting on. The advantage of looking at that is you can look for unusual activities such as new accounts being opened, new credit cards being applied for, and you can space out these requests to like every 4 months so that you kind of get an idea all throughout the year if any new account has been created. The other thing that I recommend doing to these three credit services is they also let you freeze your credit. This will stop anyone from opening up a new credit card or requesting a loan or any services in your name. So you go out individually to each of these services and you put on a freeze. If, let's say, you were going to buy a new car and that new car was requiring you to get a loan, you can unfreeze your credit to get the loan, and then you can freeze it back. And it doesn't cost you anything to freeze and unfreeze your account, but it gives you that protection that nobody else is going to be able to apply for a credit card or any information there. You can also check to see whether your information has been stolen and is available out on the dark web. And this is a site talked about in the past. It's called haveibeenpawned.com. And pawned is an internet slang term used to describe that you're defeated. You've been defeated by the bad guys. It provides a comprehensive list of the major data breaches. So you don't have to pay for a monitoring service if all you want to do is figure out, is my information out on the dark web and what information might be out there. You can go out to this site, and let's quickly go out here. So I'll click on this link. It'll take me out here. I'm going to put in my email address. And I hit enter, and oh no, I've been pawned. So my email address is out there. Now, I'm not worried because probably about 90% of email addresses are going to show up as being pawned. You've been involved in data breaches because there's been so many data breaches, and that over the years that there's very few, unless you created a brand new email account, chances are it's out on the dark web. The nice thing about this is it will tell you which data breaches it was involved with. It'll also tell you what data the scammers or hackers may have gotten there. So in this case, email address, IP address, a name, and a password to this service, to this web service. And you'll see different ones, LinkedIn, Twitter. So it's happened all over the place. And I'm not worried because, okay, here's a list of the email addresses that have been stolen and are available out on the dark web. In case you don't recognize this big number, this is 12 billion, 12.5 billion email addresses. In the world today, we have 8 billion people. So and now I have multiple email accounts, so if I put them all out there, all of them would have been hacked at one time or another, so that's not unusual. But this gives you an idea that almost everybody's email and data to some extent is available for sale out on the dark web, and the best that you can do about all this is recognize this fact and protect your online presence, change your passwords, use some of the tips that we've talked about and will talk about. But it can be useful to go out there and see what's been involved and when it's been involved there. And even like my account was involved years ago with the, what was that, Experian or the Equifax data breach. Equifax, and Equifax, I think that affected, almost 40% of the people who had credit information out there. So again, if you've been on the web for any period of time, you've been involved in numerous data breaches. There are some things you can install, like Google has an extension to do a password checkup that can be put on. Some of that is automatically being turned on in some of the browsers now to check for it. But it's also a case of you do want to use that password manager, you do want to be changing your passwords, and you do want to make it so that somebody can't guess it. And you never want to use the same password from site to site, because if one site gets compromised for whatever reason, you want to minimize damage to that site and not to multiple accounts. Okay, another tip, you can sign up for credit monitoring, and there are services out there that will look. Example is LifeLock. It'll monitor. LifeLock can cost anywhere between $10 and $30 a month. If you don't want to pay the money, there are free services out there like Credit Karma, who will also give you minimal monitoring there. But those earlier tips showed you how you can go out to the credit bureau and kind of do your own free monitoring, because that information is available out there.
Have you tried credit?
Credit Karma? I personally haven't tried it, and it's a case of after what was it? I forgot again what. Equifax. Equifax, as part of their data breach, you got 5 years of credit monitoring. I did sign up for that. Personally, I found it almost worthless. Although I know another person that says, oh, they like getting the monthly reports. And I said, okay, what have you gotten out of that other than, yes, your data is out on the dark web. Well, I knew that before all of this. What are you doing? Or they really don't have, they aren't. I'm glad I didn't have to pay anything for it, but I wished I would have taken the cash settlement. I think that was like $50 you could have gotten or something like that. I would have sooner had the $50 than the free monitoring. Talked about this before. Keep your operating system and your apps up to date. Old versions are the main vulnerabilities to your system, especially for attacks like ransomware and malware and spyware. For your tablet or phone, never download apps from outside of the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. They do the work of screening the apps, so you're pretty safe just downloading from there. And that also means don't install from a link that somebody sent you or a pop-up that showed up on your phone or tablet or computer. Don't click there. Go out to the App Store. Make sure you're getting the correct secure app there. Be mindful that every app you install, there's also permissions that you give it. And some people kind of blindly, yes, they give permission to everything every time they install an app. Use your head a little bit. If I'm installing a weather app, does it need access to my data and files on my phone? No. Does it need access to my contacts? No. Does it need access to my photos? No. Don't give access to some of these things that don't need it. Now, there's certainly other cases. If I am putting on Google Maps and Google Maps wants to know my location, I have to let it know my location. Otherwise, Google Maps isn't going to be able to do its job. But even there, you usually have options of only when I'm using the app do I let it use my location. I don't let it use the location in the background 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have a laptop and you're taking it around, certainly one of the security problems that you can have is you can lose it or it can get stolen. And the way to protect your laptop there is make sure that everything is encrypted on the laptop and you're using a password to log in. Now, if you have a 3M laptop, those are all encrypted, but frequently, I'd say about half of the people now will have a laptop that isn't encrypted or they don't have a password on it. Oh, I hate putting it in every time I have to get into the computer. Well, you've just made it that much easier for if somebody steals your laptop or you leave it behind at the airport for somebody to get access. Yeah.
I was going to say that also goes for your desktop, just like me, where mine got stolen.
Yeah, you can do it for your desktop also. And it's not a bad thing, but certainly the laptops you do definitely want it. But desktops, especially if you're in a condominium or an apartment building or stuff like that. Over the years, I've known 3 people that have lost their computers to somebody breaking into their place and stealing it. And they had diligently backed up their data to external hard drives, and the hard drive was right next to the desktop. Well, that doggone burglar didn't leave the backups. The burglar, they should have put a sign on there, please leave this in case you steal it. I can still use my backup to kind of get back my data. No, they had backed it up and left it right there. Going back to the text and SMS messages, by default, those messages and emails are public. They are not encrypted. So don't send passwords, social security numbers, or other confidential information. If security is needed, there are many encrypted and secure apps and sites and services that you can use to send things. So like WhatsApp. That's why a lot of people use that, is because then you don't have to worry. Oh, am I sending it to somebody with an Android phone? Oh, and it goes outside of the Apple network. It's not. And you don't have to worry about some of those. But don't be sending stuff that you wouldn't put on a Post-it note and give to somebody else. If you do have information that is confidential, find another way to deal with it. Public Wi-Fi's at coffee shops or doctor's offices frequently are public and may expose private information like IDs and passwords if you're going out to sites or services that aren't encrypted. So if they start with HTTP and don't have the S at the end, so if they're HTTP and not HTTPS, they're not encrypted or secure. And if you do want to secure, you can get a VPN or you can use your phone hotspot to connect to that. Use an email account like Gmail that notifies you when your account is being used in a new device. So if you haven't run into that lately, if you get a new phone and are using your Gmail account on there, you're going to get a notification that Gmail or Google notice that there's activity coming from a device that it doesn't know about. Do you want to authorize it or not authorize it? Consider one email dedicated for signing up for apps that you just want to try or are not sure that you want. So we talked about that before, where I recommend, you do have a couple of throwaway emails or things like that. And if you do decide that you do like this site or this deal, you can sign up using your real account to use it. Oh, your power supply.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
Phone scams. So it's a case of you can block numbers, you can hang up, never give your account information, and never send money or gift cards. Only answer calls from businesses and people in your contact list. Others can leave you a voicemail. Facebook data. Any friends or companies that you like have access to all your personal information, your contacts, your location. Limit what you like. So don't like everything. Only fill out required fields in your accounts and consider using false info for dates like birthdays and that. You can limit some exposure in the privacy settings of like Facebook. Excuse me. Do not use your Facebook as a login for other apps. So frequently some of the apps or other sites will say, do you want to use your Facebook login there? And I recommend setting up a brand new account with a different password, just so that if something ever did hack your Facebook account, they wouldn't have access to all these other accounts. Share less of your personal information on social media, especially answers that are used in password challenge questions. So you'll frequently see on Facebook quizzes, little short quizzes. Where were you born? What's your first car? What's your favorite teacher? Well, if you don't realize, those are the same type of questions that are used as challenge questions for sites like your bank account and things like that. So don't be answering the little trivia questions. Browsers, most of the browsers nowadays, you can use private or incognito mode to protect your privacy there, and that includes Chrome, Edge, and that. VPN, you can do some additional protection there, although in general I don't recommend that people need a VPN, but if you want, you can certainly use one, and it will provide a little bit extra. The VPN is great for companies like 3M because they can do end-to-end encryption. So that gives a company like 3M complete security, whereas a private individual only has VPN from one point to some other point, and then that point on in the internet, it's not encrypted. So the security that it provides is limited. This is just a comment. As they say, if you're not paying for a site or an app or a service, you are the product. They're collecting information about you. They're selling it. These sites and apps work hard to monetize your information. Most cell phone plans will alert you whether it's a text message that's coming in or a phone call that's coming in that it's scam likely or potential scam, and so you can let it go. Never assume that number or a voicemail is real. Delete old apps and accounts that you no longer use. Be cautious of downloading browser extensions. Okay, that concludes it there. Let me check the chat here. Let's see if I can pull up. And if you want, you can, I'll turn back on my, I didn't turn off my camera, so that, don't have to turn it back on, but if you want, you can turn back on your camera and your audio to ask a question. Any questions or comments?
One thing, if you're an iPhone user, there's in iPhone under the privacy and security, under the settings, there's something called safety check. And I'd recommend once going through the safety check. And that. So,
yeah, I'll repeat that for the people online. What was mentioned is on the iPhone or a tablet. It's out there too. If you go to the settings and account and privacy, there's an option in there called safety check, and it'll kind of step you through the various things that you can turn on and off, and maybe explain it a little more than just a checkbox there. Yeah. And it's worthwhile understanding some of that, and you'll see some of that even like if you go out to, if you have a Google account or that, Google has a similar type deal. If you go online to your Google account, it'll step you through, because nowadays there isn't just one button to turn things on or off. You have tens, if not hundreds, of options to turn on. And it's important to understand a little bit what you may be turning off, because I've had people go overboard and lock down their phone, and then all of a sudden stuff isn't working the way that they thought it should, and they can't send photos from their texting app that they're using. Well, you took away permissions, you locked it down, and so.
yeah, and the safety check too, when you go through it, there's a couple different, if you're not comfortable going through it yourself, because like Tom said, you can enable strict restrictions a little more severely than you planned, and that, so there's like an emergency reset. Probably don't want to play with that, and then there's one there called manage sharing and access. That's the one you probably want to go through. And then as you go through that, if you're not comfortable, selecting something in the upper right-hand corner, there's something called quick exit in that. So that'll just exit out of the safety check immediately. So yeah. The other thing with the iPhone, Tom's talking about the VPN. If you purchase like the 50 gigabytes on the iCloud, you can also use the private relay, which is essentially Apple's version of VPN, and it works with the Safari browser, and that so it'll give you some security. So, and then also the iCloud on the Apple devices is end-to-end security, and that when you access the iCloud, it's actually probably it's the best security out there when it comes to a cloud service. So.
Other comments or questions there?
Say, Tom.
Sure.
This is John Stocko. Speaking of scams, just today I got an email saying that my subscription to the Geek Squad services was being renewed, and it would be a couple of $100. And if I did not want this, I should call this number. They had a number at the bottom, and I went and looked up what this scam was all about. And it says, "Do not call this number because they will ask to take over your computer." And this was from some federal site that lists all the different scams that are out there. So that was just an example of one that I just got today and did not fall for it, thankfully. It looked very convincing, but like all these things, they do, as you said.
No, that's good there, John. And I'll have friends ask me, well, how did they know that I have the Geek Squad? Or how did they know I have Norton or McAfee? And I said, they don't know, but if you send out 1,000,000 of these or 100 million out, you're going to get a large number of people who do have it and or either aren't sure that they have it. And so they're the ones that are going to click. They're the ones that are going to call. They're the ones that are going to do things there.
Or they're mad because they don't have it and they're being charged.
Right. Well, it's that sense of urgency. If there's a potential charge, how can I remove it or report it or whatever, and that.
I think one of the most important things Tom said today about the scam emails and that we get a lot of them, and they're usually in the scam folder, and that is not to open them, and just you can view the list without opening them, and just delete them and that without opening them. I think that's one of the most important things I think you can do is to not open them. Because you're right, they'll send back a response, and then they'll double the number tomorrow. So.
Yeah, because you don't want to get on the list to get more. I know some people that are a little wary of what goes into the scam folder or that. And if we go back 10 years ago, the technology to identify spam is nothing compared to what it is today. So when stuff ends up in the spam folder today, it's a pretty good indicator that it really is a scam there. But it doesn't hurt to look in there because you could have a false, who's ever writing you might have included similar text to what a scammer does, and it ends up in the folder. So you can check it, but be very, very wary of anything in there, and don't open it unless you're 100% sure that it is not a scam or a hacker there.
Wait, use that other advice. Contact the company through other means.
Right. If it looks like it's from U.S. Bank, go to that website, call them up from the number on your statement, not from any number or anything that they gave you.
One of the ways I get stuff in my spam that shouldn't go on there is if there's a mass mailing, and somebody because I run a couple other clubs, not this one, and if somebody responds to that, frequently that'll end up in the spam folder. So there can be legitimate ones that are in there.
Yeah, there can be the false positive entries in there, so it doesn't hurt to look there, but be very careful what you click on or what you open there. Other questions or comments?
Hey, Tom, this is John Stofko again.
Yep.
A lot of times when you're traveling, you get free Wi-Fi connections in hotels and things like that, but it will tell you when you sign on to these that they're not secure. And if I ever want to check something that I'm worried about getting information installed, what I'll do on my cell phone service, we have a hotspot, which is a secure connection. And that's a way of, if you want to check a credit card or something like that, or a charge, use that hotspot. We never come up to the amount that they allow each month, so it's fine.
Yeah, the other thing with the unsecured coffee shop, hotel, that used to be a bigger issue because the majority of the websites were not encrypted. They didn't have that HTTPS. So if they have the HTTPS, that makes it you're 99.9% safe. And so I would go out to my bank, I would do anything on a site that is using that. In the old days, only a few sites were encrypted that way because there's a cost to encrypt the data and unencrypt the data as it goes back and forth, and so you needed more powerful servers and things like that. Now almost every site is. The PC Club website, which we get free from Google there, that's encrypted end to end. So anybody looking at any of the data in between on a Wi-Fi network, on a sniffer that's on an Ethernet line, anywhere there, is not going to be able to tell what traffic or what accounts or passwords or what websites it's going to or anything there. So most of those claims, unless you're going to a really old website, it should be encrypted. And if it's a really old website that isn't encrypted, which I have run into, what was the name of the restaurant that was near me? They were offering gift cards, and you could go out and buy the gift card. Well, it was an unencrypted site for the gift card. And I sent them an email and I said, I'm not going to buy your gift card using your site because it's unencrypted. And I wasn't on public Wi-Fi, but literally somebody with a sniffer in between could have seen the accounts and the passwords, and in this case, the credit card numbers going back and forth. And I sent it to them, and I get this email, but we checked with our internet provider that created the website, and they said we don't need it. And I said, they're a bunch of BS because you do need it to be protected. And but so there are some companies that small companies that either have old websites and stuff hasn't been updated and stuff hasn't been done. But again, most of the companies nowadays are using that HTTPS. And if I was on my phone, let's say, connected to the public Wi-Fi at the hotel, and I was using my US Bank app, well, the US Bank app is doing end-to-end encryption. So that's even better than an HTTPS connection. So you can have any connection, and that app is giving you secure, and nobody's going to see your password or your account balances or anything like that. Okay?
Back to this past week, our neighbor, older lady, got called, and somebody pressured her to pay a check to Xfinity. Her Xfinity was going to be disconnected, and it was a scam. You know, she trusts my wife, so she called my wife and asked her, and she said, probably not. And then we got her to call Xfinity. It was a scam.
Yeah, too many scams out there, and certainly, you know, if you're older, the assumption is you're going to fall for them. But the statistics that I've seen and all the articles talk about the elderly, of which I'm now in the elderly category, do fall for these more often. However, the millennials fall for it and end up paying the most. So senior citizens will fall for it, but then are, I think I did something wrong, or, you know, because they're a little tighter with their credit card or stuff like that, they aren't sending as much money. Whereas the millennials believe almost anything and tend to get hit with the larger amounts. And so the people that get scammed run the whole gamut there. And I had a friend last week, I know we're over a little bit, but I had a friend last week that desperately called me and he said, I think I've been scammed. I just got off the phone because there was a telephone call coming in and I usually don't answer it, so I let it go to voicemail. And when it went to voicemail, it said, call us back because we need some information and we need to validate some information there. And I forgot exactly what it was about, but it was some service that he had. And so he called them back, and it was an automated system. He had to press numbers there, and he got to a number, and it was saying, do you have this type of account? Say yes or no. And he was saying yes. And then it asked for this, and yes. And then it asked for this, and yes. And then it said, thank you, we have enough information. And then the automatic system hung up. And after it was done, he was kind of going, I think I've heard about these scams where they record you saying yes, and can that get me into trouble? And I said, well, that used to be the way that you do it in the old days, if doing what was called cell phone plan slamming, moving you to another account or things like that. Nowadays, it's not so much because the slamming, the AT&Ts, the T-Mobile, Verizon, all have more ways to validate that the person calling to change a number is truly the person who set up the account. So they do a little more due diligence than just yes. But in general, he had seen something, one of the AI specials that was talking about, oh, they're recording your voice and then they're gonna play your voice back to get into your accounts and stuff like that. And he has a Charles Schwab account, and he uses voice recognition on his Charles Schwab account. And I said, yes, the way these voice recognitions work, yes, you did put in your voice, but also that voice has to be the challenge question. So it's a specific phrase. You have to say a specific phrase. They couldn't just call up and play back some AI-generated deal and get into his account. And I said, no, they aren't going to do that. I said, all you just did is you just signed yourself up for a lifetime worth of more telephone calls and emails, because that's really what they're looking for, is who's answering the phone, is this a live phone number, and you can expect a lot of stuff coming your way, not the good stuff. But it is scary out there, and especially if you've seen some of these news stories, they think the worst there is going to happen, which thankfully it's not usually that bad. Okay, any other question or comment before we end it here?
Say, Tom, just one more thing. Sometimes I get a Gmail from a source that I'm not familiar with an attachment. But that attachment, there's a thing on it that says scanned by Gmail to avoid the inclusion of malware. But it also says, even though we do this, do not download this unless it's a source that you are familiar with. So Gmail does have a little bit of a security backup by scanning things before they let it come through to your email, I think.
Yes, that is occurring where it is scanning. That would also be true of even if you're using the standard Windows antivirus, the Microsoft Defender or Norton or McAfee. Almost all of those, when you download, it will do an additional scan. And that's a good thing, but kind of like what you mentioned with Google, is they're scanning for the known patterns out there. Well, if there's what's called a zero-day attack is code or malicious software of which it is not a registered virus. so the scanners won't find anything. So that's kind of what they're saying is, we're protecting you against everything that's known, but we can't protect you against the unknown, and it may be an unknown virus or that. So be safe out there, I guess the bottom line is. Okay? Okay, well, we'll close it up, and we'll see you next month. I forgot the date, but it'll be on YouTube there. And have a nice day there, and get out to the state fair if you want to have some fun. We'll see everybody.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep, bye.